What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here with a very special guest. We have the one and only, the return of the great one himself. They may call him the wrestling god. It is Dilly Vanilli back on the Bottom Line View. We are here to make some NFL picks. As you can see, the BLV guest picks this week. I don't do many guests, as I was just telling Dylan. We don't do many guests here on the Bottom Line View, but this week made an exception because I know that Dylan, of course, was a part of the channel way back and helped me build this channel to what it is today, and I definitely owe him. So he's doing some stuff. He's attending school right now, doing some big things coming with YouTube, so he's going to tell you all about that. Put the link in the comments, the live comments at the top. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll also put it in the comments if you're watching this after the fact so you can go subscribe to him. But make sure you do subscribe to Dylan because he's going to be doing some live streams on YouTube throughout the NFL season as well as other sports. Dylan, do you want to just let the people know right up top what you're doing on YouTube, what you're doing with the comeback?
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. I appreciate it. This is old times, if you will. But yeah, so you can see that little screen right there. It's the start of a new YouTube channel. I've been trying to get back in the game, and I feel like this is the right time to do it, build it up there. About halfway done between finishing off my degree at Texas Tech. So I want to kind of build that up. And so we're starting with a new channel, as you can see, Dylan Sports Network, aka DSN. It's going to start up this Saturday morning, actually, because college football decides they want to start at 11 a.m. So I guess that's when we're going to start. But I'm planning a big day for Saturday. I'm planning on 2 streams on Saturday. It's going to be over the Georgia and Arkansas game at 11, and then at 2:30 is going to be the Alabama and Ole Miss game. So that's a very big couple of streams right there. And then I also plan to do Monday Night Football stream against the Chargers and the Raiders, so stay tuned for that. We're covering a whole array of sports, college football, NFL, of course. There's still plenty of weeks left in the season, so looking forward to that. Of course, baseball, there's still the playoffs going forward, so I do want to get some more streams in, and then when the regular season picks back up next year, I'm going to do that as well. When basketball season picks up here as well, we'll be doing more of that, and of course, all the great coverage that's going to be coming on with the NFL as we get further on and obviously into the playoffs. So those 4 sports I want to be covering here and just doing live streams, grow the fan base, grow a little bit of, have some good times. We're going to be talking football for hours there, obviously, with the live streams. So go ahead, go check it out. Dylan Sports Network. Looking forward to starting that up this Saturday.
Yeah, so Dylan is a Cowboys fan. The coach himself says Dylan is lean and mean, go boys. So before we get into the picks, I think we need to get a little bit of analysis behind the Dallas Cowboys. We'll get into their matchup this week. But Dylan, let the people know how you feel about the Cowboys right now, bro.
Man, after a very frustrating 2020, this is a great start. It's been really fun to watch consistently week to week. Also, side note, probably won't be doing a lot of Cowboys streams because I don't want to be too on it during the streams, but we'll see. Maybe some primetime games.
I think you need to.
That being said, what's up?
I think you need to.
Maybe a Sunday night football game. The primetime games. We'll get into those. But yeah, first game of the year against the Bucs, back and forth matchup, went down to the wire. Couldn't really ask for much more than that. And then the last 2 weeks have been pretty good, especially that Monday night performance against the Eagles. Very excited to see that one go through. Long ways to go, but I mean, right now, I think there's a lot of positives to talk about. We'll get into more specific details about them when we talk about their matchup against the Panthers this week. But yeah, I'm really excited with what this Cowboys team is doing, especially after the very grueling 2020 that the Cowboys had.
All right, guys. So before we get started, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for weekly NFL picks. Of course, we do best bets on the channel, live streams. If you are an NFL fan and are not already subscribed, make sure you do subscribe. Also, Gronk spike that notification bell so you get that latest upload here on the channel. Before the picks, let's do our my bookie because, bro, this is the biggest game of the year, Dylan. Do you know what game is happening this week, Dylan? What game's happening?
There's a couple big ones.
There's a couple big ones, but there's one big one. You know what I'm talking about, Dylan, right?
I know what you mean. You got the Bucks and the Patriots, baby.
Tom Brady returns to New England for the biggest game of the 2021 NFL season. And that means the stakes have never been higher at my bookie. So whether you're backing the Bucks or the Patriots, you can get over there. And I feel like any game that I have money on, whether it's Monday night, Sunday night, Thursday night even, because, Thursday night can be a little iffy, but even Thursday night, that's a more exciting game for me. And you can have your money on the line at my bookie. So don't wait around. Join my bookie now and bet the biggest game, not just of this year, but next year, the year after that, the year after that, the biggest game of my life, Dylan. This is what's happening on Sunday Night Football. Use the promo code BLV100, and what happens when you use the promo code at MyBookie is you get double your first deposit. So if you've never deposited on MyBookie, put $100 in, you get $200. Not only that, but this week, the first 100 depositors using the code BLV100 get a $20 casino chip on top of the double deposit. So go check out mybookie.ag. This is an exclusive deal that's only happening this week. So the first 100 depositors use the promo code BLV100 and get that deal now. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. Check out MyBookie, guys. Link is in the description. Link's also in the chat, and you'll see it in the comments. Check out MyBookie. Bet on the biggest game of the year. All right, guys. Connor's in the chat. Turtle's in the chat. Coach is in the chat. We got lots of people in the chat. People will keep coming in as we go, but let's get rolling with Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football, we have the Jacksonville Jags taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, Dylan, I still call them the Bengals, even though, and remember that time, I think it was you, remember that time when I called them the Bengals, and that guy commented that I couldn't do that? Remember that?
I remember that. He was very upset about this for absolutely no reason.
Bro, your team sucked, but you know what? The Bengals actually don't suck this year so far. They just took down the Steelers. They upset the Vikings in overtime in week 1, and they did disappointingly lose to the Bears. But hey, they're doing well. Joe Burrow is back. Joe Mixon in form. They're without T. Higgins this week, but a strong defense this year as well, which might be the reason they're 2-1, shockingly, is the defense. They take on Trevor Lawrence, the rookie first overall generational prospect. What have you seen from Trevor Lawrence so far in his rookie year, Urban Meyer as the coach, and the Jags, and what are your thoughts on this matchup?
The Jags, man, they've struggled big time. They've got a lot of growing pains to get through. Obviously, the hype coming in is, we got fresh new faces. The motto is that be patient with us because we're going to take some time to rebuild this team with Urban Meyer as the head coach, Trevor Lawrence as the franchise quarterback. And man, it's off to a rough start. But, I mean, they've got some time, but it feels like they're hitting a lot of wrong notes very early on in the season. And if it doesn't get a whole lot better as we keep going forward, there might be some changes very quickly. Trevor Lawrence looks like he's a rookie. He's thrown a bunch of interceptions early on in the year. And, they haven't even really had that many impressive performances. I guess their closest one was against the Cardinals last week. But kick six obviously really helped him out. But overall, it was just a very rough performance around the edges. And I don't know, maybe this Urban Meyer hire isn't really working out. But for the Bengals, I was a really big, I don't want to say hater, that's the wrong term, but not a big fan of what this team was doing when I was on this channel. But now, the last couple of years, they've been making some good decisions, and it looks like the Bengals are moving in the right direction. Of course, with Joe Burrow there, Jamar Chase, 4 touchdowns, three of them with 30-plus yard touchdowns. First receiver in the Super Bowl era to do that. So, impressive performances all around. And, of course, like you said, the defense is making a big step up. They're pretty much winning them these games. They haven't scored a ton of points the first 3 weeks, but they're playing opponents that, you got to play some defense. So they got that overtime win against the Vikings. They just lost to the Bears, which is a disappointing performance, but they bounced back in a very nice way against their division rivals in the Steelers in Pittsburgh last week. So the line is 7.5. I'm taking the line, and obviously that means I'm going with the Bengals to win this game.
I like it. All right. I have been impressed by the Bengals defense, as I brought up. I don't think it's going to get any easier for Trevor Lawrence this week. Trevor Lawrence has not looked great, as Dylan mentioned. And overall, my biggest issue with the Jags, Dylan, is the coach. Urban Meyer looks lost every Sunday. He's constantly outcoached. I never thought I'd see the day where Zach Taylor, Dylan, is the superior coach in a game. So just for that fact alone, I will take the Bengals. Now, in terms of the point spread, real difficult. I feel like this is a lot of points for the Bengals to cover, even versus the worst team in the NFL, in my opinion. That's Jacksonville. It's a lot of points. The Bengals, I don't know if I truly believe. But you know what? I got my guy, Aqua, the only Bengals fan I know that subscribes to this channel, and he constantly tells me about the Bengals. So I gotta say the Bengals will win, and they will also cover in this game. I'm expecting a somewhat entertaining Thursday night football game, maybe a little bit of madness. We've seen Jamal Agnew these last couple of weeks go off with returning kicks. So we'll see if that happens again for Jacksonville. That might be their only chance of winning, but we'll see. Next, the New York Giants at the New Orleans Saints. We have Turtles, New Orleans Saints. Turtle is the biggest Dilly Vanilli fan in the entire world, I think. He's been backing his boy Dylan for years. Browns hat or no Browns hat, the Saints just shellacked my Patriots, and I don't feel good about it. It feels quite gross losing to Jameis Winston, to be quite honest. But you've got the New York Giants, who might be absolutely just the worst team like to watch in the NFL. Dylan, where are you leaning this game?
Ooh, I mean, there's some pretty interesting tales between both of these teams coming into week 4. The Giants, man, being a Cowboys fan, it is kind of nice to have this team in this division. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty entertaining in all the wrong ways to see this team. I don't know what's going on. Daniel Jones sometimes looks competent, and other times he looks exactly like the quarterback that we thought was absolutely drafted way too high in 2019. Joe Judge, I don't know what he's doing. He went off today about the analytics. He said, no, I don't really care about him. I'm like, all right, well, I guess there's nothing that's really going to help you because you're not doing anything to help that out. And the worst scenario is they keep shooting themselves in the foot. They could have 2 wins under their belt right now against Washington and Atlanta, 2 teams that have struggled in the first couple weeks of the season. I feel like they could have had both of those wins, but nope, they didn't get either of them. So they sit here at 0-3, and it only gets worse. They've got a really hard schedule coming up. So, as for the Saints, what kind of week are we going to see from Jameis Winston? I feel like we're going to get 1 week where he's on fire. You know, he's throwing with the LASIK going on here. You can see everybody down the field. And then the next week, I'm very confused as to his performance. You know, so I'm not 100% sold on him as the quarterback for the future for the Saints. But against the Giants, I've got to pick him, man. I just feel like there's no way that the Saints can lose this game against the Giants. I mean, they've had at least a couple of good performances.
Don't say no way when Jameis Winston is involved, Dylan. Haven't you learned this lesson, Dylan?
No, that's true. I mean, he's been in the league for 6 years, and every time I'm like, I don't know what we're going to get. But I still feel like against the Giants, I just don't see it in the cards for the Giants. I'm going to take the Saints. I'm also going to take that spread. It is a big spread, but I feel like they've got it done. I'm going to take probably, I think 10 is where I'm going for, a 10-point win for the Saints. So, I mean, they looked good against the Patriots. They like you said, they dominated the Patriots last week, and I think they're a more competent team than the Giants. So, I'm going to go Saints here.
Where is this game even being played? Is it being played? It's not in New Orleans.
Is it in
Jacksonville
forgot where
again?
I forgot where they said
I
it.
don't
I
know.
can
If
search
anyone
that
has
up
that
real quick.
detail, Turtle probably knows. Let us know in the comments, guys. Of course, who you're picking for every game. But if you know where this game's being played, let us know. So we got the Giants and we got the Saints. Saints favored by 7.5. The Saints impress me in terms of what they can do at the line of scrimmage. So they've got a very strong... They won their game based on the pressure they were able to get on Mac Jones through their creative blitzes, but also just their pass rush. New England couldn't really block them. It caused a couple interceptions. Well, actually, Jonnu Smith handed a pick six to Malcolm Jenkins, and the other one was caused by the pressure. On the other hand, the Saints offense has been up and down. It's been good. It's been bad. It wasn't great versus New England, but it was good enough to win. They knew it would be a defensive game. I don't think the Giants quite have the defense of New England, although I don't think it's a bad defense. I think the problem with the Giants really is their offensive line. If they had a good offensive line, which is tough to say because not a lot of teams do, but if they had a good offensive line, I think they would be a decent team because honestly, Daniel Jones has been, I know that he's been inconsistent his whole career. This year, I actually think he's been pretty good for the most part, and I think if they had an O-line that could open up some holes for Saquon in the run game and then just not have those random negative plays in the run game and the pass game because of the sacks and all that tackles for loss, I feel they would be interesting. Maybe not an NFC contender, but like in the mix at the very least, in the middle of things. And right now, I think the biggest thing is the offensive line just absolutely blows. And when you play a defensive line like the Saints, it's going to be challenging. So I'll take the Saints to win. I trust Sean Payton. I think it's a clear coaching advantage there. And from the spread perspective, it does definitely scare me to 7.5 with Jameis Winston because you never know. I'm going to be different here. I'm going to take the Giants plus the 7.5. I think it will be somewhat close, but I expect the Saints to win the game.
Fair enough. I understand it. Again, Winston's on the team, so you never really can put that past him.
Yeah. So we got some people just saying hi to the people in the chat. Gaming Season says, "What's up, Mitch? You're an absolute stud." Well, I appreciate that. We also had another Zach, you look like Zach Wilson comment. I appreciate that again. Durkant says, "Dilly the goat, vanilli."
My boy Durkant, let's go, baby.
We got to get Dylan in the Discord more often, bro. The Discord is wild. Like, you should see the Discord on a Sunday.
Bro, I looked at it the other day when I put the comment in there, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. What's going on here?
Yeah. If you ever want to talk football or anything else, that's to you, Dylan, but also the people watching right now. The link's in the description for the Discord. I think we have around 300 plus people in there, and it's some real diehard NFL fans. They also talk soccer. We fight about movies all the time because Durkant has awful movie takes, like just dreadful, bro. Like I've never seen worse. So if you want to get in there and talk about anything, Discord's where to be. The Chiefs, the Eagles. The Eagles are... Oh, sorry, this is wrong. The Chiefs are -7. That's the first time I've done this season, surprisingly. I consistently used to do that all the time, but that is incorrect. It is Kansas City -7, quite obviously, if you know these two teams. But the Chiefs, honestly, have been pretty bad this year. 1-2, surprisingly. Although, if you listen to the BLV, I mean, I've been telling you they've been overrated. I'm just saying. I've been telling you they've been overrated. But they shouldn't be so overrated that they can't beat Jalen Hurts and an Eagles team that Dylan just saw on Monday night. Dylan, where are you going in this game?
Yeah, absolutely got to take the Chiefs here, but I must point out with that spread, though, not the Philly 7, of course, but the KC 7, the Chiefs in the last 14 games are 1-12-1 in covering the spread. Did you know that? That's terrible. Mm-hmm. Why would you want to bet? You would lose $1,500 if you bet $100 on each of their games in the last 14 games. I don't think anybody wants to lose that.
Dylan, you know what's funny about that? Like, I remember, like, for years, my dad and I would always talk about, like, betting on the NFL, and he would be like, if I just would have bet on the Patriots, like, every game for the past 10 years, I would be so rich. And the thing is, like, with all the comparisons between the Chiefs and the Patriots for obvious reasons, the Chiefs have been strangely overvalued, by the market in Vegas, which sometimes it takes time for them to adjust. And I almost feel like, when is that moment going to be where now Kansas City becomes undervalued because everybody's bringing up that stat?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel like it's going to take just a few more weeks or a few more struggles to get that done, because Vegas is like, we got to put this up high. I mean, there's just no way. One week they could go off, and then it gets set right back there. But yeah, Patriots, that would have been a great plan for 10 years just to keep betting on them. Yeah, the Chiefs, I mean, it's a struggle, right? Like, they could have won against the Ravens if Edwards-Helaire hadn't had that fumble. But they also gave up 36 points. So, I mean, do you deserve to win most games where you gave up that many points to begin with? Not really. And then, right after that, you play against the Chargers team. Of course, I think the comment that Mahomes made in the offseason kind of sparked a little bit in that Chargers locker room. But let's see when it gets down on the field. And then he threw 4 touchdowns. So, I think we saw what Herbert can do. This is a different scenario, though. They're not really playing against a team of the caliber of the Ravens or the Chargers. They're playing a team that ran 3 times on Monday Night Football. 3. They didn't run in the second. I don't know. I don't know what their game plan is. I mean, they got a first-year head coach. But they've still got a decent running back in Miles Sanders. Use him. I know that you're down a little bit, but you're not down by 40. You were down by 13 going into halftime. You can run the football a little bit. And this team, I was talking to one of my friends that is an Eagles fan. It's not AC, but we were talking, and it was a very he was very sad about it. He's like, this is going to take a while to get back to the Eagles of old. And after that performance, I'm like, it might be that way. So I'm going to take the Chiefs. I know I brought up that stat, that -7. I think they should hit it, but you never know with this team. You never know.
I think this is the week. I've been right about the Chiefs. I'm going to pat myself on the back. I've been right about the Chiefs the whole time. I think this is the week the Chiefs cover. Now, again, guys, this isn't Philly -7. I know the graphic says Philly -7. It's Kansas City -7, okay? I've got the Chiefs to win and also to cover. This is the week. I do not like what I've seen from the Eagles. On defense or on offense, I think they've had substantial losses already. Their offensive line is missing, the left tackle was out versus the Cowboys. Brandon Brooks has been out. I think he'll remain out. He's an awesome guard. And then defensively, they lost Brandon Graham versus the 49ers, and that has been a big loss. So up front is really where the Eagles have been dominant when they've been good, and now they've lost those pieces. Jalen Hurts, to me, just doesn't have the ability to throw the ball on the outside consistently to make plays on the Chiefs, and that's what you need to be able to do. I think the Chiefs will be, very motivated on defense because they've been so bad, and I think they'll get a couple more stops this week. Offensively, we know they can move the ball, so I think the Chiefs cover. I think they win by 10 to 14 points here. I still think the Eagles, will be in it to a certain degree, but the Chiefs will get 1 or 2 more stops in this game than they have the last couple weeks. So I'll take the Chiefs to win and the Chiefs to cover. Next, we have the Houston Texans at the Buffalo Bills, and yes, Dylan, you are looking at that spread. The Bills are favored by 16.5, and bro, it started. It began at 17. So this has actually gone down, believe it or not. So the Bills are still favored by 16.5. They play the great Mills at quarterback, Davis Mills, and the greatest receiver in pro football, Brandon Cooks. Somebody save Brandon Cooks, bro. Somebody save Brandon Cooks. I swear. Please. Anyways, the Bills are legitimately probably the toughest team to figure out right now. And what I mean by that is, in week 1, they sucked. Like, they were awful. They lost to the most dreadful team in the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have no offense. And they lost, okay? And now, all of a sudden, they're blowing out Washington. They're blowing out Miami. I don't know how to read the Bills. Are they actually the best team in the AFC? Or maybe they're not as good as we've seen the last couple weeks. The Texans, obviously we thought they were going to be the worst team in football, but they've actually been somewhat competitive in the first 3 games. So Dylan, who do you like in this one?
Okay, first off, when I saw that graphic, I think that's why you reacted to
Did
me,
you think
because
that was also wrong?
I didn't see that till right. No. I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. That's the first time I've seen that today, so I was like, holy crap. That being said, yeah, I think we saw week 1. It wasn't a very good game against the Steelers, which I'll go into some detail on them when we get to them. But, they've bounced back the last couple of weeks, and now the question is, where do the Bills stand in the AFC? Are they contenders? Are they a step down from their AFC championship appearance last year? Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see how they go going forward. I think they are built to be right there once again, but we'll see when we get there. Against the Texans, though, well, that's a big spread. I would not be confident in taking that. Even if they do it, I would be more surprised. I'd be like, oh, okay, that's cool. But I think I'm going to take the Texans line here, but I am picking the Bills to win this game. The Texans, they've got heart. I appreciate that. Like you said, they have played competitive in all 3 of their games. Even if it hasn't looked the best on the field, they've at least tried. So I think they're going to do the same thing here. They'll get to give a little bit of a performance, but without Tyrod Taylor, it ain't happening. So I'm going with the Bills here.
Yeah, I mean, if this was Tyrod Taylor, I don't think the line would be nearly this big. I think the line would be closer to like 10, 11. Like, I think that's how much, Tyrod was actually playing pretty well the first couple games, and you could argue if he was in the whole game versus Cleveland, they might have beat the Browns. That's like how good he was playing. He only had 1 incompletion in the game at that point. So the Texans, I love the spirit, I love the fight, but hell no, I'm not picking them to win this game. Are you kidding me, bro?
Absolutely not.
I'm not picking them to win. I'm picking the Bills. The question with the Bills is how good I think is their defense. That's the question, because they've played the Steelers, they've played Washington, they've played the Dolphins. I don't really know what to take away when you're playing those 3 offenses, those 3 quarterbacks. I'm not sure what to take away from it, but you could make a legitimate argument that the Bills are the best team in the AFC. I think if you are the best team in the AFC, you continue to roll here, you continue to win. But 16.5 in the NFL is too many points. So I'm going to take the Texans. It feels like it could happen in your head. Like, well, they'll win by 17. They'll win by 20. And the Bills have constantly blown out bad teams. So it does give you a little bit of worry to take the Texans. But more times than not, you take the points. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'll take the Texans to keep it competitive once again this week. But the Bills should easily win. Oh, buddy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Before we get to this one, guys, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button. Let's get those Gronk spikes up for Dylan. He's here. He's picking. He's about to pick his team's game this week. The Carolina Panthers, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Dallas Cowboys are favored by 4.5, which, Dylan, I think this shows legitimate respect on the part of Vegas to put the Cowboys 4.5-point favorites versus an undefeated Carolina team that's looked pretty impressive through 3 weeks. And we know that Sam Darnold has beat the Cowboys before. I'm just going to bring that up real quick. He has done it. But, Dylan, will he do it again?
That was a very sad day in history, I'll tell you that much. I'm going to answer one comment one of the comments in here. Yes, I'm at Texas Tech. I'm in Lubbock right now. So that's where I'm currently stationed. No hats, unfortunately. I've got the Cowboys hat. That's about it. But I have that in the closet here. I thank you, Vegas, for giving the spread. I mean, that's cool. That doesn't happen very often. But you know what's very weird? I'm not going to take them in the spread. I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win, but I'm not going to take them in the spread. And here's why. Yeah, here's why. Because I watched these Cowboys games with my roommate, who we've gone to school since 7th grade together. We watch these Cowboys games, and every single week is a stress and a detriment to my health. The game on Monday was the nicest game we've watched in probably 3 years because it was an actual blowout. It never happens for the Cowboys.
That's
So I'm
true.
going to do that. But when we get into a little bit more specifics, the Panthers 3-0. Who would have thought that once you leave Adam Gase, you do good, right? It's a weird phenomenon, I guess. But they've looked good. McCaffrey not being in this game this week is a big problem for them, though, trying to get this win against the Cowboys. They're not going to have him. It looks like they only want to go to one receiver, and that's DJ Moore. I don't know where Robbie Anderson is at. They just traded away Dan Arnold. They think, I don't know. So it's a very confusing last couple of days, I think, for them. But I still think they're going to do well. I don't know how that's going to be put together. And their defense has really been holding it up together. That's been the main complaint for years with the Panthers, is that their defense can't get it done. They can't stop the run. And it looks like they've done a pretty good job over the first 3 weeks to get into this record. Cowboys, they've had a pretty interesting couple of weeks, right? They started off the year against the Bucs, went head-to-head back and forth, like I said, almost won that game. And then the Chargers game, the offense was looking good. Then it got a little bit weak. And then the game winner. Both consistent times, though, we can see that Mike McCarthy still doesn't know what he's doing. It's all Kellen Moore.
Did you see what Peyton Manning did?
Oh, no. What did he do?
Peyton was like, Mike, call a timeout, Mike. What are you doing? I'm surprised you didn't see that. I'll send it to you on Twitter. Oh my goodness, that was funny.
I think I saw the clip, but I didn't watch it. But what I did see was the referee was telling him, "You want to call timeout?" Even the referee's like, "Dude, come on!" Like he's not trying to help you out, but this is common sense. So give all the credit to Kellen Moore for creating and helping this offense, not Mike McCarthy. That's how I'm going to put it. And in terms of what the Cowboys have done offensively, Dak looking like a stud. He's not only in contention for comeback player of the year, he's also in contention to try to win the MVP. I'm not saying he is through 3 weeks, but he's in contention to do so. He's looked very sharp. He also has Mitch's favorite stat, which is number 1 in completion percentage.
Oh, I love that.
That's a good start right there.
Surprised you remember that, Dylan.
When you have we were talking about Pollard's great week, and they're like, oh, what's Zeke? Who is this Zeke character? And then he goes and rushes for 2 touchdowns, has a good performance. So I think having both of them at 100% really gives the ebb and flow of the offense. It's working out. And Michael Gallup's not even back yet. So when they get him, it's another receiver to add on top of this team with Amari, with CD. Both tight ends are doing great. Schultz had 2 touchdowns and a really good performance. Top tight end in fantasy last week. So that's good. Defensively, they've done a pretty good job. I mean, that's probably been my number 1 concern for the last, I don't know how long as a Cowboys fan. Watching the defense go out there, give up third down conversions, always letting the team that they maybe should beat or beat better get an opportunity. But they have done very well. Trayvon Diggs, only player in the league with an interception in each of the first 3 games of the season, including the pick 6. It looks like he's taken a big step up. So that's very nice to see. I think it's going to be a competitive matchup just because this is what Cowboys games are. They are every single week. It doesn't matter who they're facing, unless maybe the NFC East this year. Who knows? But against the Panthers, I think it'll be close. I think it's going to be a 3-point game. So, I'm going with the Cowboys, though. Pick up another win, go 3-1.
I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys to win the game. I believe in the Cowboys. I was really holding out on the Cowboys. You know what happened to me, Dylan? Now, this is why you can't spend too much time in the Discord. Because what happened is I thought that the Dallas Cowboys were going to be the best team in the NFC East for 3 months. Then what happens is Hard Knocks comes around. Dak's got a bum this. He can't go. The team, I'm not liking the Mike McCarthy vibes. The Discord's feeding me this propaganda about the football team. Bro, I can't anymore. I'm done. I'm all about the boys now. The boys, to me, the Cowboys, get this, Dylan. Top 3 team in the NFC. How do you feel about that?
Woo! That is nice to hear. I'm not going to lie. That is a nice sentiment to hear.
I'm taking the Cowboys, but I agree with Dylan. I will take the points. I also like the Panthers. I think the Panthers will be a playoff team when it's all said and done at the end of the year, most likely through the wild card, but still a playoff team. And I do think this one will come down to, I like that it's 4.5 right now. I think if you can get that, that's a solid bet because there's key numbers in this league. 3 and 4 are two of them. A lot of the scores end in 3, 4, those are key numbers, 6, 7, right? So if you can get it, I think it's a solid bet. I could see this being a one-score game. I could see it coming down to a field goal. I could see Dallas maybe winning last drive through a touchdown, and then therefore you cover with the half a point. So I feel like the Panthers, offensively, I think they're going to be able to score. I'm believing in Dallas's defense. I think they're better. But I think Carolina is very well coached on the offensive side of the ball. And Sam Darnold's been playing well. DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, I think this is the week he gets more involved. And Terrace Marshall, I think, is going to be more involved because they trade away Dan Arnold. I think there's going to be, intent on their part to get Robbie Anderson and Marshall more involved because of the trade of Dan Arnold. And I still like the running backs, even though they're not Christian McCaffrey. And the defense has been good all year. Now, they've had a couple injuries, but I don't think they're necessarily just going to get ripped to shreds in this game. I expect Dallas to score and obviously come out and win, but I think Carolina's offense is what keeps it close here. And we have like a 28-24 type of game that Dallas comes out as the winner. So that's the way that I see the game going down. Expect a good one between two NFC teams. All right, we've had a few comments here that I have to discuss, all right? We've had some comments about a Dilly glow up in the chat. How do you feel about those? We've got Dilly has had a glow up, not gonna lie, Ultra says. We've also got Factor Fiction, Dilly is cute from Turtle. How do you feel about these?
Well, you know what? I appreciate that, guys. That's what happens when you lose 65 pounds because it was a rough time. Yeah, it went down from 230. Now I'm 165. So, yeah, I would say a little bit of a glow up. I'm not going to try to put out my performance or looks here, but I thank you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate it here, guys. Any compliments, just shower Dylan with the compliments. He loves it. All right, this is
what you also can shower in as well. The button that subscribe to the Dilly Sports Network, and also the bottom line. You can just shower all the button. You press it.
Yeah, if you like looking at Dylan, just go subscribe to him. Dylan Sports Network. You don't even gotta listen to him. Put it on mute. Go subscribe to Dylan Sports Network, bro. The link is in the live chat right now. Go check it out and go press subscribe. All right.
Yes,
we also have a team in this one, as I remove the wrong graphic. We have a team in this one, the Cleveland Browns, that Dylan has been very supportive of. Even in the days where Kevol used to come on here 1 week and say, they're going to win this game, they're going to win this game. Kev, they were never winning a game. They lost every game, Kev. You single-handedly lost your picks that year because all you did was pick the damn Browns. But this year is the year of our Lord 2021. And in the year of our Lord 2021, the Cleveland Browns are good. Not just good, borderline great. Odell Beckham Jr. came back last week. Potentially a big showdown between LSU and LSU. We got Odell and Justin Jefferson on each side. Yeah. That's going to be entertaining. Kirk Cousins has been a freaking baller this year, and I know Dylan loves his Vikings, but the defense for both sides, I would say, have been very underwhelming. So to me, I expect a little bit of a shootout in Minnesota in this dome. I'm not sure the status of Dalvin Cook, but I'm really looking forward to this game. I think the Vikings are very live dogs here. I could see them coming up with the win.
Yeah, I read a report. Dalvin is optimistic to play Sunday. That's what I saw today. So that's a good thing. Yeah, this is kind of a conflicting game, That the Cleveland hat, of course, the Minnesota team over here to my right. It's a difficult situation for me because I'm going to have to be a, quote, trader for a week between one of these teams. I know it's tough. It's tough here, but let's go through them. So Cleveland, yeah, I feel like they've got all the pieces. They were close to winning the divisional round last year. We talked about that. Now everything's coming together. They've got Nick Chubb, who I still think is underrated in this league, and they've got all the pieces. Odell's coming back, healthy as ever. I think I want to see him succeed. I feel like this team can do it. The defense, like you said, hasn't really been there for them. But the offense is putting them in situations to win big games, and they're looking like one of the best teams in the AFC. The Vikings, they should be 3-0. They legitimately should be 3-0 right now. They picked up a very impressive win against. Yes, classic Vikings. They won a very good game against the Seahawks last week, where they won by 2 touchdowns after being down very early in the game. They lost because they could never find a field goal kicker in week 2, and they lost an overtime upset against the Bengals in week 1. So this team could easily be 3-0. But as it stands, they're 1-2. And a certain quarterback named Kirk Cousins is getting the job done. Who would have guessed it, right? They've still got Dalvin Cook, who looks to be coming back this week. I think he's going to go off after being out last week. And the team's put together. Jefferson, Thielen. You've got targets across the board. It's one of the better offensive performances we've seen through the first 3 weeks of the season. Again, like you said, both teams apply here. The defense has really done their job, I would say. But, I've been looking back and forth. We're in a pick'em league, and I have one team selected, but it's not Sunday yet. So I feel like I can move this around. Right now, as it stands, I'm going to pick Minnesota to take the upset win here, and I'm going to tell you it's only for one reason. They're at home. I feel like that's going to be the deciding factor. I know that's a little bush league or whatever you want to call it, but I feel when it's this close of a matchup between two of the better offenses and both defenses haven't really shown out for me. I know Myles Garrett is scary. He had 4.5 sacks last week, so that could be a big thing. But their offensive line is one of the best in the league, in my opinion, in the Vikings. So it's going to be close, but I think the home field advantage is going to get the job done. I'm going Vikings. That means I'm taking the points for them as well.
Yeah, man, this is really tight for me. I feel like these two teams are very similar because obviously their offenses kind of run the same scheme because Kevin Stefanski was with the Vikings, obviously their offensive coordinator. Now he's the head coach of the Browns, and Clint Kubiak is the OC of the Vikings, and they basically run identical, offenses. They're kind of run first. They set up the play action. Both quarterbacks are kind of similar, in terms of what they're able to do, and the defenses are real tough. Did the Browns turn the corner last week is the question defensively, gaining that confidence, sacking Justin Fields not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, not 6 times, not 7 times, not 8 times, but 9 times, Dylan. 9! 9! Myles Garrett is the best damn pass rusher in the NFL right now. And I have more confidence. They were my Super Bowl pick to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC, Dylan. I've got to pick them in this game. Even though I thought, I was going to take the Vikings, but Dylan went the Vikings. And if they are really as good as I think they can be, they got to step up. They got to win this game. Big game by Odell. The Browns win in a shootout in Minnesota. How about that?
It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to that.
Next, the Indianapolis Colts, the Miami Dolphins. Miami is favored by 2.5, I believe, at this point in time, although I don't know why. Kevin Durkant is in the chat, highly anticipating your answer here, Dylan. It is Jacoby Brissett. Revenge game. What do you think?
Tale of 2 disappointing teams, man. What is going on with either of these teams? The Colts are 0-3. I don't know what's going on with Carson Wentz. He's hurt on a regular basis. Their defense has done nothing. And then you go over to Miami. Of course, Tua is hurt, but they're just really confusing to me because I feel like when I came into the season, I'm like, all right, they're a wild card team. They got a chance to maybe pull off an upset, win the division. I wasn't going to pick them to do so, but maybe you win a couple games, you do so. And then they barely squeak out a win against the Patriots. I'm like, okay, they beat a division
They should have
rival.
lost.
Sometimes
They
those
should
happen.
have lost that game.
They should have lost. That's the thing. But you know what? Divisional games are always weird. They're always hard. If you lose them, hard if you win them. So I get it. Then they got shut out 35-0.
What?
Like, bro, that's terrible. That's not even bad. That's just straight terrible. And then last week against the Raiders, I'm like, oh, I'm picking the Raiders to win this game. They're
Yeah.
gonna win. But then it went almost 70 minutes, and the Raiders barely pulled out the win against Miami. So here we are, 1-2 against 0-3. I wouldn't have suspected that coming into the year. I'm gonna go with Miami, and I am gonna take that 2.5, but I mean just barely. It could be 3 for all
So
I
you
know.
think they're
You
going to
know what I
cover the
mean?
2.5?
Yeah, I think they're going to cover the 2.5. But
Okay.
I mean, it could be a field goal
Yeah.
for all I know that ends this game. It has not looked very exciting for either of these teams, and that's sad because I would like both of these teams to be good. I feel like they're better off if we see both of these teams doing good. But Colts haven't showed me anything. Winston is a walking like injury-prone stick at this point. I don't know what's going
It's
on.
bad,
I don't know
man.
what they're doing. Their quarterback depth chart is awful as well. I mean, the quarterback that they've got promoted going into second string, I don't want to see them. So, and then, yeah, it's just been disappointing. I don't want to be down, but I feel like this could be the most down I'll be in the entire video.
I'm
yeah.
going to be honest with you. I'm not watching this game. I watch every game on rewatch, Dylan. I probably won't even rewatch this game. That's how bad it is. I'm going to check. I might watch the first 5 plays, and then I'll know exactly what happened in the game. That's what I feel like is going to happen in this one.
That's true.
It's in Miami. You know how I feel about Miami. In Miami. It's always tough. Jacoby revenge game, bro. I keep coming back to this Jacoby revenge game, man.
Yes,
Everyone says he played bad last week. I mean, he gave them a chance to win. How do you feel about the Jacoby versus Tua thing?
I feel like if Tua was more competent, this wouldn't be a discussion, but he's not been that
That's
great.
what I'm saying.
So,
do you think there's a big difference there?
Like
if Tua was in this game, would you confidently pick Miami?
I would just because they're playing the Colts, probably. But it would probably be still the same situation. I'd probably be like, they still only win by 3 or 6. Something like that. Wouldn't be crazy. Just because I feel like you got to write out the first round quarterback that you spent all this, prospect on. You got to go with that. But yeah, it's not much of a difference, I would say, right now between Tua and Jacoby based on performance.
This one's tough because, I feel like if Indy had their full offensive line, they might be able to win this game. But they've had, actually low-key major issues with their offensive line. Quentin Nelson's been hurt. They haven't had a left tackle. They've been struggling all across the line. And I think, really, if the Colts are going to win, they're going to have to jump out to a lead early because that keeps Jonathan Taylor in the game. They keep running the ball. And whenever they get behind, it just becomes like Carson Wentz running around getting sacked. He has no ankles. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't really know how the Colts are going to pass the ball consistently in this game with the Dolphins having, in my opinion, one of the better pass defenses in football and a good cornerback group. That's always challenging. I'll take Miami. I hope the Colts win, being a Patriots fan, just being honest here. I will not be betting on this game. Absolutely not. I have no faith in this pick. But I'll take Miami because the Dylan theory, they are at home. But my theory, Jacoby Brissett revenge game. Dolphins win. And come.
I like it.
Did I just put this one up again?
Well, you fixed the line, so that's something.
Yeah, there we go. That's the actual line. 7.5 doesn't matter. What the heck? Did I do it twice? I'm drunk, bro. Why do I make these graphics drunk? Anyways, Gronk, spike that like button if you're enjoying these picks. The Jets, the Titans. Oh my goodness, the Jets have been absolutely dreadful. I mean, just unwatchable. The offensive play calling has been graded the worst in football from PFF. The defense has not been horrendous, but it hasn't been good either. The Titans, though. The Titans are probably going to be without A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. Not just one of them. Two of them. And we know the Titans don't have a good defense. They did beat the Colts. They came back versus the Seahawks, and they got shellacked by the Cardinals. What do you think, Dylan? Are the Titans going to be able to win and cover? Or do you think this is the time for the Jets to get an upset win versus one of their opponents this year?
Eventually it's got to happen, right?
It's going to happen.
Here's the thing, man. I feel like this is a pretty fortunate week to have Julio and AJ be gone. Because if you're facing a pretty good team, that's hard to come back from. You're going to have to rely on something else like the defense, like you said, that hasn't been very good. But this is the Jets we're talking about, baby. They haven't done jack squat to say otherwise. They look horrendous. And honestly, they're my pick for the worst team in the NFL. I know Jacksonville's right up there with them, but I feel like the Jets have been even worse because, oh my God, every single week I just keep looking into them, and it's more just terrible football. I don't understand. And Zach Wilson, he's getting no favors from his head coach right now. Poor guy. He's getting no help from his offensive line whatsoever. He's trying to throw the ball, and in like 1 second, there's a lineman right there. There's that TikTok that was going around a couple weeks ago when they were playing the Patriots, where it was like 5 offensive linemen. They're all doing something wrong. They're all on the ground. Zach Wilson throws it up in the interception.
Did you see that one picture versus the Broncos where like the center, like I've never seen this before in football. Do I have my phone with me? I could show it to you. The D tackle was turned around. Like the D tackle was coming straight in, and the center was looking like the other way. I've never seen this. I got it right here. Bro.
That's impressive.
What is the center doing on this play, bro? What the hell?
He's like completely stationary in this opposite direction. Like, I don't understand why.
Who are you blocking, sir?
He's taking a nice stroll. He's just enjoying the football, man. Like, you can't ask him to do work. He doesn't play for an actual team. He plays for the Jets. Anyways, they're awful. Yeah, the Titans. I mean, they're 2-1. They got a nice one against the Seahawks, but they're also struggling. And they beat the Colts, but they're also 0-3. So I don't really think we're going to get the Titans' best performance until a couple weeks later. We're going to have to see them play the Bills and the Chiefs in back-to-back weeks, and then the Rams a couple weeks after that. So we're going to really see what this team's all about later on down the year. But right now, against the Jets, it's easy money. This is what I would consider bet of the week. And I know they're missing their receivers. I get it. But -7, take it. It's money.
Bro. The Jets, here, listen to me what I'm saying right now. The Jets will cover this game.
Oh, wow.
This is my almost upset of the week. The Jets will cover this game. I'm taking the points, but I cannot trust that offensive line to win the game. So I will take the Titans to win the game by less than 7. I'm going against Dylan here. The Jets will cover. I got a feeling. But
let's also think about they've scored a combined total of 6 points in the last 2 games.
That's okay.
So I just want to keep that.
They've played. Okay, this is the difference, though. In my opinion, they've played two of the best teams, or two of the best defenses in the league. They've played the Patriots and the Broncos. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The Titans have no receivers. So the Jets, bad corners, it's not going to be, really a problem. And the Jets are pretty good defending the run, not bad up front. So Derrick Henry, I don't think is just going to steamroll them over. I think this is going to have to be a grinded out win for the Titans. On the other side, the Titans defense is a little iffy. I think the Jets can move the ball in this game more so than they have the last couple games. So that's what I see. From an X's and O's standpoint, I think the Jets can keep this one competitive. I know that it feels like they're terrible, but hey, bro, it's going to happen eventually. They're not going to lose every game. I'm not saying they're going to win this game, but I think it will be competitive.
We'll see. You know, the Jaguars posted after they went 1-0 last year that they're not satisfied with one win, and they've lost their last 18 since that point. So you never know. You never know. It's a different team, but still, you never know.
The Washington football team, the team that the Discord convinced me to pick to win the NFC East, which I'll never forgive them for, and the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta is so bad. They have arguably the worst offense, which it doesn't even make sense. They have one of the worst offenses in football. Matt Ryan has not completed a pass over 20 yards this season yet. The only quarterback in football to do such feat. Something. I don't know what the word is. And Atlanta's defense is not much better. They did beat the Giants last week in a defensive, tight game at home, which it appears this might be the very same type of matchup versus Washington. But the problem with Washington is their offense has actually been better than their defense. Their defense has sucked this year, which is very shocking. I think, out of any unit in the NFL, this is the most disappointing unit on either side of the ball in football. The defense of the Washington football team. Their pass rush hasn't been great. Their secondary hasn't been good either. But their offense at times have been able to move the ball. I think this will be kind of a wacky, exciting game that I have no idea who's going to win. Personally, I think Washington is the better football team. I think they've got more talent. And that's why I'm going to go with Washington here. Dylan, do you agree with me or do you disagree with me?
I agree with you on this case.
Okay.
But I find it interesting that, of course, a lot of people were like, Washington's the team to beat the NFC East this year. This is a team that's got the defense going. They've got Ryan Fitzpatrick, or they've got Taylor Heineke, whatever quarterback you want to pick here because of the injury. They got Antonio Gibson. They got Terry McLaurin. That defensive line's solid. But defenses aren't built the same every year. They're not going to be this great team, unless if you're the Patriots, of course. But, it is what it is. It isn't going to transfer every year. And it showed this year. Because, wow, what have they been doing? I mean, yeah, they gave up only 20 against the Chargers, but they gave up 29 against the Giants in a game they could have easily lost, and they gave up 43 points last week against the Bills. I know they're good, but 43. I don't think you're going to win many football games if you're giving up 43 points. And again, this is a team that we just stated had a pretty good defense last year. Their offense has done most of the work so far. So it hasn't been very good. The Falcons, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing? What's going on here? I don't understand. Like, they're honestly the weirdest team for me to watch week to week because I feel like they should be better, but their offense is nothing. It's nothing. And Matt Ryan, toast. I'm sorry.
He is French toast.
French toast. And even that sounds better because it sounds pretty good right now. I'm not going to lie. Matt Ryan, he ain't sounded pretty good to me because I'm picking Calvin Ridley, my fantasy team. I want more production from him, but he can't do that if you don't throw him the ball. Thank you very much. Same thing with Kyle Pitts. So, yeah, I'm going to go Washington here. It's basically whoever you pick to win, you're pretty much going to take whatever it is. It's only a 1.5 spread, so it's not that big. I think it could be a close game. It's one of those wacky games, like you said, but I don't really feel confident in either of these teams. It's just one of those things that I feel like one is a little better than the other.
Yeah, just diving a little bit deeper on it, I do think Washington's D-line can get back on track in this game versus an offensive line that's been pretty dreadful in the Atlanta Falcons. And just the fact that Atlanta has been hesitant to throw the ball down the field, I think helps Washington because they've been exposed down the field in their secondary. That's really where teams have been beating them. I don't think Atlanta has that ability to do so. Now, on the other hand, Ultra, the biased Atlanta Falcons fan, says, I've got a feeling we win 20-17. Fair enough. But we're going with Washington here. Next, the Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams actually started this week favored by 6. It's since gone down 1.5 points. People are saying, you know what? Yes, they did beat the Bucs, but hey, this could be a letdown spot. They're facing an NFC West rival that's also undefeated, and Kyler Murray is a baller. -4.5, the Rams. Dylan, who do you got?
This is an interesting game. This could be one of the best games of the entire week. We've got 2 3-0 teams that have looked pretty good so far. I'm liking what both of them have been putting up. Of course, Rams coming into the year, they got all the hype. You know, you're putting up a team with Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, their offense. You're gonna have some reason to be putting them at the top. And then guys have come to perform though. Let's give them their credit. They're not just a hype team coming into the year. They've got guys like Cooper Kupp. I mean, what a receiver. This guy needs to be talked about more for his production consistently in the first 3 weeks of the year.
Wide receiver 1 in fantasy, Dylan.
Yeah, number 1 in fantasy. Because he's putting up, what was it last year or last week? 9 catches, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Too many catches,
like
too many touchdowns, and too many whatever. A lot.
I feel like somebody was playing against him last week. I don't know. Maybe.
Actually, I got him on a couple teams, but you know, I wanted the Bucs to win. But whatever, it's all good.
That's true. It was that's the thing, and you got to take that in consideration here. That was against the Bucs. And, you know, they got a good defense. They didn't have Richard Sherman last week.
No.
You know, they got people. They've got, and Deshaun Jackson, a touchdown, 3 catches, 100 yards on a touchdown. He's a big deep threat for them, even at his age at this point in the game. When you get Arizona, Kyler, he's taken the step up that I think we've been wanting to see him take the last season or so. He's doing pretty well for himself. The run game isn't that much special for me, but they've got the receivers, right? They've got DeAndre Hopkins. They've got the talent to do something. And then overall, I really like – I mean, of course, when you have a divisional matchup like this against 2 really good teams, it's going to get me excited. So that line for the Rams is kind of scary. I'm not going to lie. I feel like this could be a pretty close battle here. I am going to take the Rams on the line as well, though. I mean, it could be like a 6-point game here, but I'm going to take them. I think they got the offensive firepower to get the job done and continue here, because somebody's going to be undefeated. Somebody's going to go 3-1 at the end of this week. Well, I guess there could be a tie, but I'm not factoring that in. So that being said, I think the Rams are going to take this one here because they're at home.
Yeah, the Rams, man, have really impressed me. Obviously, you know, they're the best team, in my opinion, right now at this moment in time. And I really think they're going to continue to be an awesome team in this game. When you look at this series recently, the Rams, 18-7, won that game. 38-28, won that game. 31-24, won that game. 34-7, won that game. 31-9, won that game. 34-0, won that game. 32-16. They have been consistently beating the Cardinals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins in a row versus the Arizona Cardinals. That's insane. Honestly, I think there's something to do with the coaching edge here. I would think about the Cardinals. I feel like this could be a letdown spot, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals won this game because, you know, Rams coming off a big win. They were obviously very hyped in that game. McVay showed it on his face after the field goal miss. I mean, it was obviously a huge game for the Rams in that one to beat the Super Bowl champs, as it should be. You know, you're facing Tom Brady, but this week, I don't think they're going to take their, eye off the ball, so to speak, in this one, because they're facing a team that's undefeated within their own division. They know how important it is. And when you look at the matchup, Ramsey versus Hopkins typically owns him. I think the Rams, just creativity-wise on both sides of the ball, are superior. The offensive line of the Rams has been very, very good at protecting Stafford this season, which I think is really the strength of the Cardinals' defense to get after the quarterback. And then once you can attack those corners, that's where you can win, and that's where you can beat them down the field. And I think Cooper Kupp will have another nice game. Maybe Robert Woods gets on track. Maybe Djax has another deep touchdown where he walks into the end zone backwards again. And the defense of the Rams isn't as good as last year, but they find ways to create pressure after the quarterback, and they've done a good job versus Kyler in the past. So honestly, like, as much as I want to say and think that the Cardinals could win this game, just the X's and O's and things don't line up for it to happen. So I do think that the Rams are the superior team, and I do think they come out the winner. I'm also going to take them to cover the spread like Dylan is because, it did start at 6. So I feel like the value now just through that change in spread from 1.5 points is Vegas opened it up at 6 for a reason, right? So I think you could see the Rams win by 6-7. And the more points scored in this game, I feel like obviously favors them to cover the spread. So I'm going to take the Rams here to win it and win it by, let's say, 31-24, something like that.
Okay.
Next, another NFC West showdown. We've got a lot of good games, Dylan, at the second time slot, and another one in the NFC West here, the Seattle Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are surprisingly, I would say, favorites again this week after being favorites over the Packers last week where they lost, at the last second versus the Packers. This one's interesting. Seahawks obviously have dropped 2 consecutive games, which has rarely happened in the Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll era. The 49ers, I'm struggling to find out what their identity is, how good they are. They're a real challenging team to figure out. Where are you leaning in this one?
It was very interesting watching that Packers game last week because I get 49ers and Packers because I was like, man, I feel like the 49ers are there, but Jimmy G is a real conundrum when it comes to their quarterback decision for the future, and I feel like that it's got to be a hard thing for Shanahan to think about. He's got Trey Lance there, but do you do something with them? I feel like Garoppolo's done enough to keep his job and keep moving forward, but when's that going to end? When does that well dry up, if you will? They had a chance to win, and I think Jimmy G put them in a spot to win, obviously, with 37 seconds to go. But that's just too much time for Rodgers. You got to learn that's just too much time for Rodgers. With Seattle, they haven't been good. Let's just be honest. I know Kev said that in our chat, and he's probably going to be the most honest because he watches the Seahawks. He's a fan of the Seahawks, but they haven't been that good. Their one win game against the Colts in Week 1. They lost to the Titans in overtime, but they got absolutely destroyed by Derrick Henry in the second half and a little bit in overtime. I mean, he crushed them. And then against the Vikings, they lost by 13 after having a pretty decent lead to start it off. So, I mean, it's a very interesting tale of two teams trying to fight because this is probably the most competitive division in football right now. And both of them still have chances to do something. But for the Seahawks, they need to win this game. I don't want to say it's a must win, but I feel like it's a really important game for them. And for the 49ers, I feel like they need to get the momentum back on after losing a very close game against the Packers. That being said, I'm going to take the Seahawks here. I feel like their back is against the wall, and even though it's also kind of the same for the 49ers, I feel like Seattle's in a more dangerous situation. And with Russell Wilson, I mean, he's still putting up really good numbers. So I feel like he's going to do something at some point to get them over the hump like he's almost always done his entire career. They're struggling. He gets them back on track. So yep. I'm going to go with Seattle, and I'm also going to take the points as well. Obviously, I would take the points as well. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, but I'm going to take Seattle just barely.
This one's tough. I could see it going either way. So the confliction in my head is Russell Wilson going to lose another game in a row?
Yeah.
They're going to lose
it's crazy, right?
3 games in a row. I can't. And I'm not quite sure I'm ready to give up on Seattle. On the other hand, 49ers, I do see, like, from a front perspective, I could see where San Francisco, a big problem with Seattle from what I've seen, and the reason they've lost 2 consecutive games, is because the opposing team has been able to control the clock and, run the ball, keep the offense of Seattle on the sidelines in certain moments of the game. You know, for Minnesota, it was in the second half where they really pulled away, where they were able to keep Russell Wilson on the sidelines. It wasn't necessarily the Vikings defense stopping the Seahawks as much as it was the Vikings keeping them on the sidelines. Same thing with the Titans. The 49ers could do that in this game. You know, Jimmy has been at least competent for them, especially, you know, in some moments. Last week, I thought that one drive at the end was definitely helped the confidence for me when watching him. I feel like Brandon Ayuk's back on track. Deebo Samuel's had a good year. George Kittle's good. They might have Mitchell back at running back, which I think he's better than Sermon so far. The D-line is still good. They can get after the quarterback, but the problems I really have here is the Russell Wilson thing of losing 3 straight games, me not willing to accept that, on top of the cornerback receiver matchup. It was the same thing I said about last week's game where I picked the Packers over the Niners, even though I felt the Niners, you know, were better in most other facets. Just the fact that Seattle has a better quarterback and that receiver corner matchup of Metcalf and Lockett versus Josh Norman and Emmanuel Mosley is, I think, overwhelming. And I think that's the biggest disadvantage that one team has in this game and the biggest advantage that one team has in this game. So I think a desperate Seahawks team wins this game. If the 49ers were better running the ball this year, which it doesn't feel like they have been, I may lean towards San Fran to, you know, control the clock and win it in a shootout. I do think this game will be fairly high scoring, but I'm going to lean towards Seattle because they'll just be the more desperate team for the win. So I agree with you, Dylan. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. Now, in terms of the spread, it is a field goal, so, like, that's kind of tricky. I could almost see it being, you know, like 31-28, and then it's like nobody wins. But
right,
I'll just take Seattle because I'm picking them to win. So, you know, they could win by whatever. As long as it's more than 3, I'll take Seattle. The Baltimore Ravens, the Denver Broncos. We have a few games left here. Baltimore, Denver. Thank you guys for sticking around. We've got 129 people here live. We got 42 likes, so that doesn't really make sense, bro. Why do we only have 42 likes, Dylan? I don't know. Guys, Gronk, spike that like button also before we get to the rest of the games. We do got to give Dilly Vanilli a shout out here because you got to subscribe to him. Hey, that's why he's here. That's why he's putting up with me for a couple hours here, because he wants you to go over to Dylan Sports Network. Link is in the live chat. Do subscribe to him. He's going to be doing a lot of live stream stuff. A lot more people are here, Dylan. So do you want to let the people know, if they, in case they missed it, what you're going to be doing on your channel?
Yeah, thank you for the hype up there. Saturday we're starting off 11 a.m. So it's going to be a little early, but it's fine. It's college football. I know y'all love football, and I know you love college football. So we're doing Arkansas and Georgia. Big matchup, and the 2 top 10 teams right there at 11 a.m. And then I'm also planning to do, if everything goes according to plan, the Alabama-Ole Miss game. So doubleheader live stream. That's going to be rare, but that is a doubleheader live stream back-to-back on the first video or the first day of the channel. Going to do more live streams of the NFL during the course of the season. For this week, I have the Monday Night Football matchup in plan against the Raiders and the Chargers, which we'll obviously talk about towards the end of this video. So watch that. And then the next stream after that will be the Thursday Night Football matchup between the Rams and the Seahawks. So a couple of streams looking forward to there, but we're going to cover college football, NFL, and basketball and baseball at different times throughout the year. So any subscription helps. I really do appreciate it, guys.
Dylan, I got one question for you.
Yes, sir.
Will you take me on in WWE GM mode when it comes back to the game?
Oh, 2K22 when it comes out. Yes, absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. It hasn't been around in so long. That is, yes, absolutely. Yes. Let's get it done.
We'll have to do that on his channel, but we've got the Ravens. We've got the Broncos. This game, I think, is like the low-key interesting game of the week to find out where these teams are at, because the Broncos are undefeated. The Ravens are 2-1, but they were kind of fortunate. I wouldn't even say kinda. They were very fortunate to beat the Lions. The Lions. They won on a 66-yard field goal in Detroit to win it. And, Lamar's kind of been playing MVP football in spurts and other moments. He's maybe been a little bit too risky with the football, but he's kind of been having to do that to win these games at moments. The defense for Baltimore has found its way back to being at least competent, although it's not as strong as it's been in the past. On the other hand, Denver has an extraordinary defense, one of the best in football, at least at this moment. Teddy Bridgewater's been playing very, very good football, consistently accurate, and playing maybe his best football of his career right now. Despite not having Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler went out. Maybe the injuries are piling up for Denver's offense. This is in Mile High, which I think is always a home field advantage. I think it might be the best home field advantage in the NFL. In today's NFL, that home field has been a little bit diminished in terms of how teams have prepared coming on the road and how they've adjusted their schedules to adapt for road play. When Denver, you go there and you're still dealing with the air that you got to breathe. So it's interesting. I do think, and I have been saying, that Baltimore, I do feel, is a bit overrated. They lost to the Raiders in the first game, and they could have lost versus, even though they did beat the Chiefs, they could have lost to the Lions. I'm going to stand by that. I'm going to take the Broncos. I think the Broncos actually match up well with Baltimore in this game. I think Vic Fangio is a great defensive coach. And yes, it will be a very tough test, and I could see Lamar winning this game because he's Lamar, but I think the Broncos are the more talented all-around team, and they find a way to grind out a victory at home. Dylan, do you agree with my hot take, or do you disagree?
I'm going to have to disagree here. I know. We're the Agree brothers, of course. Back in the day, we always agreed on these streams, but this time around, man, first off, somebody mentioned we might have skipped Bears-Lions, so we might have to go back to that.
Okay.
Cover that game.
Got it.
In terms of this game, man, my only concern, and I get why people were picking the Broncos, right? They got a 3-0 start. They're keeping up in the AFC. They're doing things right. But my cause for concern is they've beaten 3 of the worst teams in football, right? So I need to see more against some pretty good teams. If they do so, then I can see them more, weeks down the line where I'm more confident in doing so. But I'm trying to figure out there it is. But their wins the first 3 weeks of the season came against the Jets, they came against the Jaguars, and they came against the Giants. What is that? 3 of the 5 worst teams in football? It's not satisfying. And I get it. They got a really good defense. They're probably going to match up against Lamar very well. In fact, if you got a decent quarterback on the bench, I'd rather start him in fantasy this week over Lamar. I wouldn't want to start Lamar in fantasy this week. Maybe that's something for a different video there. But I really wouldn't want to start him if he's my quarterback, if you got somebody that's at least a good backup in mind. That being said, they've played well against some good teams, and they've had a couple of very weird games to start off the year, as you pointed out. That Monday Night Football shootout against the Raiders. What was going on there? They could have won the game. They obviously lost that. Could have easily lost against the Chiefs. If Justin Tucker's not the greatest kicker in NFL history, they wouldn't have won a game against the Lions. The Lions. So I get why people are going on the board and saying they've seen more good things from the Broncos, but I'm just not sold on it right now. I'm gonna go with the Ravens now. If Denver does pick up the victory against the Ravens, maybe I'll get on this train a little bit more. But I'm holding off my horses there.
All right. I don't know. I feel like you might regret it. You used to be a Broncos guy. What happened?
I know. Well, I was a big Manning guy, and I was there, and then, things happened. It is what it is.
All right. Well, Dylan, I was hoping we wouldn't have to talk about the Bears. So, you know what? I purposely didn't even want to talk about it. I just skipped it. But since you want to talk about it so bad, all right, we'll talk about it, okay?
There it is. There's that.
The Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears. The Bears are favored, I believe, by 3 at this moment. It could have changed. I believe it opened at 3.5 and went down to 3. And understandable, because I think, Chicago looked atrocious, especially offensively versus the Browns, and the Lions looked good and competitive versus, like we just talked about, the Ravens. The Lions, honestly, as much as I was saying they're going to be awful before the year started, and they haven't won a game yet, so they're on pace to be bad. Like, they're on pace to lose every game of the year. But they have been competitive. They have been competitive. In every game they've played, they've been tough. They've been feisty. Their defense has been playing well, especially versus Baltimore. I thought their offense played well versus Green Bay until Jared Goff's small hands couldn't take the reign. And in week 1, they came back from a huge deficit versus the 49ers. Chicago, they beat the Bengals. Okay, impressive. They lost the other 2 games. I could see you going either way here, Dylan. Mm-hmm. Who are you going to make angry? Are you going to make the Lions fans angry, or are you going to make the Justin Fields fanboys angry?
Man, so I haven't dealt with the fanboys, but I do remember those Lions fans going pretty crazy back in the day on our draft videos. And, I've dealt with that experience before. That being said, man, I'm a fan of Schadenfreude. If you don't know what that means, it's chaos. I like a little bit of chaos in my football. Somebody has got to be at the bottom, right? Somebody's got to be screwing up the team. We can't have 32 perfect Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's got to be somebody that's ruining an organization, right? And that's the Bears for me, man. I love seeing the chaos that's going on there. They don't know what's going on. Matt Nagy looks like he is purposely trying to ruin this team in every single way. And I don't understand. Like, you just drafted this quarterback, right? Andy Dalton is hurt. You've got Nick Foles on the bench. You're putting Fields out there, and you give him no help. 9 sacks last week. 9. 4.5 came from Myles Garrett alone. Like, come on, bro. Help him out. Do something. They accounted for 1 team passing yard last week. 1. 1. We, as commentators, almost had as many passing yards than they had as a whole team for 60 minutes. It's like when Reggie Bush ran for -6 yards in a season. We did more than him. But that being said, the Lions, and I'm going to go with the Lions, and here's why.
Nice.
They've got that fire you were talking about, right? This is my favorite 0-3 team I've seen in a long time. They care. They're trying. They know they're not that good. They know they've got Jared Goff as their quarterback. But Jared also realizes this is a new start for him. He's got to do something to put his name out there. He's got to try and get this team going. And he's tried, right? They were the first half against the Packers pretty good. That second half we don't really want to talk about. They have the worst luck in human history, obviously, because they lost against the Ravens on a 66-yard field goal. And they lose in the worst ways every year. But against the Bears, where it's just chaos and chaos and chaos, I got to take the Lions. I feel like it's going to be there for them. They're going to get that win.
I agree. I like where Dylan went with that, because, like, it's a vibes thing. Like, I don't know if you could really say the Lions have been any better than the Bears. Like, record-wise, they haven't. But based on the vibes, the Lions feel like the team you want to pick in this game. And it could be a trap, Dylan. But I'm going to go with the Lions because, you know what? I've enjoyed watching the Lions more than the Bears this year. So, why not? I'm going with the Lions. I am fading, once again, the Justin Fields hype here. I just don't. This offense is just atrocious. And it's not all on him. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm just saying I feel like this line has something to do with that hype. And I really don't know if they should be favored. So give me Detroit, and I'll take the +3 for sure. The Lions with the win.
I like it.
Okay, are you ready to talk about the most unwatchable offense in the NFL?
Let's see. Let's go for it. Oh, you're right about that.
Did you tell me you saw the Ben Roethlisberger highlights last week?
I did. Was there any?
of him falling over and like throwing the ball. Like nobody was near him. He's falling over, he's throwing the ball, and then in another one, he threw it right to the linebacker. Right to him. Dylan, Ben Roethlisberger is a has-been. He is done. He is toast. He is what's worse than French toast? What's worse than Matt Ryan?
Oh, man. I'm trying to think of some kind of food that would go to
He's done.
Bro, he's like some like old Eggo waffles, bro. Like not even new ones. Like the ones you've had in the freezer. They might be freezer burned at this point. They're out. They're garbage, dude.
God, it's atrocious. The Packers, on the other hand, Packers beat the Niners, which I felt, it was close, but I thought it was an impressive win on Sunday night on the road to do that versus a pretty good team. And, I hate on Aaron Rodgers as much as the next dude, but I got to admit when he's going to absolutely lambaste an opponent, and that's going to be this week. This is the I don't understand this line of the week. Like, why are the Packers not double-digit favorites in this game? The Steelers stink. Like, they suck. Like, I think they're awful. I know their defense is pretty good at times, but it's gotten worse and worse with the injuries through the past couple weeks. The Bengals covered 7 versus the Steelers. Bro, this is in Lambeau, is it not? I'm taking the Packers. Who's covering Devontae Adams? D-U-N-E, Turtle says. Done!
Yes, sir. Done. That is
I'm getting Packers 31-13.
Bro, first off, I got to mention it. He's the worst quarterback in the AFC North.
Woo!
There's no discussion.
No,
right
it's
now.
not even close.
Like,
he might be the worst quarterback in the AFC.
He's up there. I can't say he's worse than Davis Mills. And I can't say he's maybe worse than some of these rookies. But past like the 4 of those guys, we're pretty much right there. I think Big Ben's right there, dude. This guy's not even toast. He's the Eggo waffle. Okay? It's not worth it. Right? They're talking about, we need to honor him. He's the quarterback that we've done, been there for 15 years. Give it up, bro. You're not there anymore. Like at the very least, Matt Ryan is toast, but like he makes some throws, right? He can do it a little bit of the time. I ain't seen nothing from Big Ben to do something. Najee Harris had himself a game last week. He tried to do something. He was probably the only positive light on the entire offense. It was an awful watch. And when Bengals players in the middle of the season are saying that your team gave up, bro, that's not a good look. I know it's a division rival, and the Browns said that as well, but that's not a good look at all. And you've got plenty of teams throughout the course of the season you're going to have to worry about, including your own division. And then you also got to worry about the Packers, who are, a team that I'm personally not a big fan of. As a Cowboys and a Vikings fan, that's not a great thing to be looking forward to on a weekly basis. But they looked pretty good last week. And if Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing at this potential, he's right there in the MVP conversation once again. Like you said, who's going to stop Devontae Adams? I don't know.
400-year-old Joe Hayden? Do you know how bad it is in Pittsburgh? It's so bad that Mike Beck is tweeting about Aaron Rodgers playing for this team next year. Not this year.
Wow.
Not tomorrow. Not next week, bro. Next year. He's moved on to next year. That's how bad they are.
And he's a big fan. He tells us, he puts it out there quite a bit. He knows what he's talking about. So if he's going already, this is week 4. Like that's bad. That's bad. We have talked a lot of garbage over the years about the Steelers. And I feel like a lot of it has been pretty accurate. Like have they backed it up? Not really. And we talk about them losing games against teams they should beat. Should they beat the Packers? No. They're not going to. No. The Packers are going to win, and if they somehow lose this game, that is a big problem for the Packers. Because the Steelers.
Yeah. I mean, I'll laugh at the Packers if they lose this game. I'm just gonna be honest. All right. Packers. Let's save the New England game for the last game.
Yeah, let's save that.
Monday night.
Ooh.
Guys, let me know in the comments if I missed any games, because I missed the Bears and Lions. Apparently, I missed it, but go ahead. Raiders. Chargers. Undefeated Raiders. 2-1. Dylan, you ready for it?
All right. Cool.
Chargers with a huge win over the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. Justin Herbert said Patrick Mahomes. Oh, I heard what you said. 4 tutties. Not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 tutties. Mike Williams is a baller. Baller. Brandon Staley, I already called him, Dylan, an elite coach in this league. Elite. Okay.
I like it.
John Gruden has been elite. But you know who's been even more elite? Is Derek Carr. Yeah. This is a huge game. This is going to be awesome. This is Monday night. This is the spotlight. We've seen the Raiders on Monday night already. I love watching the Raiders. They're so entertaining. And I feel like it's because they're not so great where they blow teams out, but they're good enough where every game's close. And it's always entertaining. And I'm not really buying into them being undefeated and all this stuff. And I'm not really sure where I'm at. I think the Chargers, to me, are the better team. That's why they're favored by 3.5. But when you look at the environment, this game's in LA, but I feel like there's going to be more Raiders fans there than Chargers fans. I really do, because LA has traditionally been the Raiders, in terms of who they support. I'm going to take the points with the Raiders. I think I like taking the Raiders here because of their offense. I feel very good about, and their defense has been playing above expectation. But I do think the Chargers find a way to squeeze this one out, because I do think they're the more well-rounded team, and I do think the Raiders, they can't keep squeaking by, so they're going to lose a tight one. So I'll say the Chargers win by 3, but I get them with the hook. So I'll take the Raiders with the points.
This is the NFL stream of the week for me. Of course, Raiders, Chargers. I'm looking forward to this matchup because these two teams have brought the fire. Thank you for the logo right there.
Where can they find the stream of the week, Dylan?
Stream of the week. I'm looking forward to it. If I put in a game for the stream of the week, I'm looking forward to it. It's prime time Monday night. Like you said, we already seen the Raiders play on Monday night, and what a game that was. That was one of the best games of the year. And we're only 3 weeks in. We've had some pretty dang good games. So that was a great start to the year. Then they went ahead and beat the Steelers, right? Who cares about the Steelers? And then they went ahead and beat the Dolphins in 69 minutes. Okay, I don't know what that was all about, but they got the win. They in the stat sheet they're the first team ever to beat 3 teams that won 10 games in the season before, right?
Wow.
To start off the season, that is impressive, right? I don't know if these are the 3 contenders.
Yeah, they're not exactly, it was kind of a fortunate 3 teams with over 10 wins last year when you look at Miami and Pittsburgh, and then,
right.
Talking about Baltimore maybe not being as good as last year, but that's interesting.
I mean, it's good. You got to take it.
It's good.
It's a good look, right? But it's definitely not the best. You would say Kansas City and then Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it would be a little different.
Whoa, that'd be crazy kind of thing. That being said, though, they put on some good performances, and I feel like John Gruden is finally getting to the point that we've been wanting to see, right? We've been wanting to see him succeed. We feel like he's got the tools. We know he's a good head coach. We've been waiting for that. And then Derek Carr, the MVP of the season so far. He's been putting up baller numbers. He's thrown for over 1,200 yards. Not even Brady, who's throwing lights-out football, can say that right now. I won't confirm that is going to be the MVP come week 18, but he's off to a great start. And then the Chargers. They've had good games. They've had good performances. They look like a caliber team that's ready to take the next step up. They won against the Washington football team by 4. They lost a very close game to the Cowboys in week 2, where honestly, I'm not, as a Cowboys fan, a lot
Phantom
of
penalties, Dylan.
Phantom penalties. Yeah. Well, they occurred. According to the NFL, they happened. But penalties really did hurt that game, right? If they cut them down, or if some of them didn't happen in the situations that they did happen in, they could have won that football game, right? And then they beat the Chiefs, the big old mighty Chiefs in Arrowhead last week. That's a big performance. I'm looking for a shootout this week, man. And I'm also looking for a close game because, like I said, the Chargers won by 4 against Washington. They lost by 3 against the Cowboys, and they won by 6 on a very last-minute drive against the Chiefs last week. So I'm going to do the exact same thing that you are doing. I'm going to take the Raiders on the spread. It's going to be a very close matchup, but I am going to take the Chargers to win. I'm very much looking forward to this game. And Herbert, man, do well. You're my fantasy quarterback. Okay, I just want to put that out there. But he's looked very good as well. Don't underestimate what Herbert is doing because he is taking a step up.
Yeah.
Mike Williams, you did beat me in fantasy last week. Thank you very much for that. But you're a top tier. You're getting up there in receiver. He's a great talent. So this is a very fun matchup. I'm looking forward to it. But I'm going Chargers in the pick'em. But in terms of the spread, going with the Raiders.
Guys, before we get to the game of the year, the game of next year, the game of
lifetime.
Last year, bro, it hadn't even happened yet.
No.
Reminder to go to my bookie because right now we got a special offer. Like I said, use the code BLV100, double your first deposit, gamble on the game of the year at my bookie. We're going to hear who Dylan's going to take. He's going to let you know who to bet on in this game between Tom Brady versus Bill Belichick. Brady returns to New England, so make sure you go over to MyBookie. Use that code BLV100. The first 100 depositors to use the promo code BLV100 will also get a $20 casino chip. So, sounds pretty good to me. All right. The game of last year, this year, and next year. The Tampa Bay Bucks and the New England Patriots. This spread, I am going to be completely 100% honest with you, Dylan. I bet this game. Not today, not yesterday, last week. I bet it. Tampa Bay was favored by 5.5, and now it's 7. Personally, I love my odds because I got Tampa Bay, 1.5 points earlier than it is right now, so I'm feeling good about it. But now it's real interesting because now it's a full 7, which makes it very, very interesting in terms of that betting it. But we have Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. I will be streaming this game live on Sunday night. I typically don't do Sunday nights, but this is a very special game. And Dylan, this is the first football game where I will be actually deciding who I cheer for as the game develops because honestly, I have no idea who I will be cheering for in this game. I don't know, Dylan. This is just such a weird game for where I'm at. I honestly don't know how I'm going to feel when this game is unfolding. I don't know what my emotions will be when this game is happening. I don't know if I'm going to be like, I want Brady to win and I'm going to be on the Bucks, or I don't know if I'm going to be like, screw Brady. The Patriots. Bill Belichick's got to get this win. I don't know where my emotions are going to be. I'm going to be like a 14-year-old girl watching this game. The Bucks are favored by 7. They are the superior roster. They are the Super Bowl champs. They're coming off of a loss, Dylan. Do you think they win? Do you think they cover? Or do you think the Pats make this one real interesting and maybe even upset the Bucks?
I read this 550-page behemoth called The Dynasty last year, right? This thing gave me a lot of details about what's going on. Actually, it's 600 pages. I don't read books, by the way, so this is impressive. That being said, I learned a lot of things, and here's one thing you got to understand. The dynamic that was going on at the very end of this dynasty was wonky. It was a very weird time to be alive in 2019. And then, they don't really cover it because it just happened when the book released. But then Tom goes off. He's in Tampa. He wins the Super Bowl. And now things have kind of are at an impasse. You got the man that's won 7 freaking Super Bowls, 6 of them with the team he's going to be facing off, and he's going back to the place he used to play for. Bill, of course, giving us the same one-sentence liners that he has to give because he has to stay on topic. He can't show emotion about what's going on, but he's thinking about it. He knows the situation at hand. And then you've got the new quarterback that is essentially replacing Brady at the helm, Mac Jones, who has been hyped up by Mitch more than almost any person out there. You know what I mean? That being said, this is an intriguing matchup. I don't even really think for the whole football. Like, we're going to get a football game, but I feel like this is a storyline matchup. This is where you get the drama, the build. This is a wrestling style matchup where you build it all the way up
like
years and years.
Davari versus Vito.
Oh, Davari versus Vito. What a class. That's what I'm talking about. That's the matchup that we're seeing on Sunday night. So I feel like we're going to get a lot more of that. I feel like, obviously, Michaels and Collinsworth, they like to play into storylines. They're going to talk about it all night. They're going to bring in a little bit of football, but they're going to bring that up most often than not. That being said, let's get into a little bit more discussion of the football. I think Tampa's going to win, and I think they're going to win by more than the points. I'm taking them in the points as well.
Okay.
Mac Jones has done well. He's probably been the best rookie. Not probably. He has been the best rookie quarterback this season to start off. He also has the only win by a rookie. It was against Zach Wilson, but we're going to take when we're talking about rookies.
Yep.
That being said, you're going against Tampa. You're going against Tom. I just don't see it. I think there's too much on the table. Even with Gronk not balling out like he did the last 2 weeks, you still got him as a red zone threat. He doesn't go to Friday practice because it's red zone day, baby.
Yeah.
He's just going to score no matter what. And I feel like the Patriots are going to have a real hard time trying to stop that man. What's that?
AB is back.
Yeah, he's also back. AB is back. That's right. Yes, he's back. So that's another weapon right there. Boom. You got to cover Mike Evans. The only offensive struggle is they have no run game whatsoever. Absolutely no run game whatsoever. I don't know what's going on with that. I would love Ronald Jones to get an opportunity, but apparently it is not going to happen. So it is what it is. But I think, did Brady lead them in rushing yards last week?
He did.
Yeah, am I correct?
And actually, Mac Jones led the Patriots.
That's not great for either team. I know that they just lost James White for the year, but that is not great for either team. But yeah, I think the Patriots are one of those teams that they've got some growing pains to do, man. Just like I said earlier with the Jets, with the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've got some growing pains. I think there's some good things to say about them, and I think they're going to pick up a couple of good victories as the season goes on. I think they can pull off some upsets. This one's just too overmatched, though. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I don't see it. It's going to be a fun matchup, though. It's going to have all the television hype you possibly want, so watch it for that. But I don't think you're going to get the biggest and closest, one possession battle back and forth between two quarterback giants and all that.
I'm
hoping. We're going to see one team.
I actually hope it's really close.
I'm hoping it's close, but I think it's going to be 10. You know what I mean? I feel like Tampa is going to go out there, lead it, get the 7-point lead, and then the Patriots don't get the score. Tampa takes a lead with 2 minutes left. It's too much. So I want a close game. I just don't see it all the way through.
So I'm going to be the ultimate Patriots Brady fan here and pick a 30-24 win for the Bucs, meaning that the Bucs win on the last drive. Brady drives him down versus Bill Belichick's defense. And Gronk scores the game-winning touchdown versus the Patriots in New England.
I couldn't write the script any better, man.
The Patriots cover the spread. Mac Jones looks very promising. He eats up a secondary in Tampa that's looked very susceptible through 3 games. And takes on Todd Bowles' blitzes with promise. So I think the ultimate game that, as a Patriots fan, that you're cheering for, because I feel it's unlikely they actually win the game. But I do think there's a world where this game's very close. I think New England defensively is strong, and I think they can make this one close. I think it really comes down to, this game really comes down to me, how good the Bucs defense plays. Because we know how talented they are. They just haven't really shown it yet. They haven't really come with it yet. And if this game is a blowout for the Bucs, it's going to be because the Bucs defense actually, played pissed off. So I'm streaming this game, looking forward to it a ton, but I'm going Tampa with a real promising game from the Patriots because that is the homer in me in this one. Those are your picks for week number 4, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, Gronk, spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the Bottom Line View. Dylan, the man, the myth, the legend, the wrestling god. Where can they find you? Where can they follow you? Let the people know.
You can find me on Twitter at the Dilly Vanilli. That title still exists, so we're still rocking with it. You can find me on Instagram. We're going to be posting a little bit more. Dylan_727. And of course, there's that one other thing. Oh, that's right. You can find me on YouTube, and that channel name is Dylan Sports Network, aka DSN. We're starting up Saturday morning. Get your college football fix then. You're going to get your NFL fix later on with the Monday Night Football matchup that we've been talking about with the Chargers and the Raiders, and more streams to come. So you can follow me on all of those platforms.
Are you streaming by yourself in terms of the live streams, or what's the plan for that?
I am live streaming by myself, yes.
Okay. So make sure you guys
If there's a Cowboys game, my buddy's probably going to be there, so I'll stream with him. And then hopefully maybe some guests come on. There's definitely an opportunity for that to be coming down the line. We'll see how that goes.
All right. Awesome, Dylan. Nice to see you. Nice to talk to you. It's been a while. Definitely have you on later on in the season. Nice to see you coming back to the YouTubes. And yeah, make sure you guys do support Dylan, man. Honestly, like this guy's my brother, so make sure you go support him. He supported me. He's a big reason we're here where we are on the Bottom Line View. So support him, subscribe to him, follow him, whatever you got to do. And we'll have him back for more picks. This was very enjoyable doing it with somebody else. So thank you guys for tuning in for another week of NFL picks. Tomorrow, best bets on the NFL, my 5 picks versus spread, as well as the teaser pick. So make sure to check that out for you gamblers out there. From Mitch and Dilly Vanilli. Peace.
Peace.